Welcome, I'm Halcyon and this is Hug Nation. I've been giving a lot of thought lately to digital literacy and realizing that there are things that I do with my interactions with the computer and the internet that have taken me a long time to figure out best practices for, and still I don't think I really have all figured out. For example, backing up your data or setting up your file structures and naming them in a way that you can find them in the future and you don't lose things, backing things up in a way that isn't repetitive and doesn't put you in a position of massive data loss, and passwords. And that's one that I wanted to just touch on briefly, as I realized if you don't have a system for passwords, you can waste a lot of time and have a ton of frustration. If you're just making up some random password every time, you don't have a program that tracks that for you, or if you're just trying to think of some wacky word, or sometimes the worst case is when people think of a password and they use it everywhere, which is like having a single point of contact that if it goes bad, everything in your life falls apart. But then again, it's impossible to just remember hundreds and hundreds of passwords. So I was taught this trick that I wanted to pass on to you. You ready? First, you start with a word, some random word, and then ideally find a way to make that word into something that uses uppercase, lowercase letters, and a number. For example, I'm going to take the word boombox. Now, boombox, I'm going to now turn it into capital B, 00, MB, open bracket, close bracket, X. So that's boombox, right? It's got uppercase, it's got lowercase, it's got some symbols. Now, you may not want to use symbols because some places won't let you use symbols. I flippin' hate it when people have these crazy rules about, their passwords. It's like, oh, that's too easy. Oh, no, that's don't have a capital. Oh, that doesn't. It's like, they're like, oh, you got to have a uppercase, lowercase, you got to have a shade of green, you have to have a 6T megahertz tone, and you need to have a tap dance routine. I'm like, dude, isn't it my responsibility to figure out my passwords? Because now you forced me to pick something that I will never remember, and every time I go to this site, I'm going to have to hit password retrieval. Or when they say, oh, you used that password at some point in the last 2 years. Well, no kidding. It's because it's the one I remember, or it's the one that I have assigned to this site. Okay, so anyway, you pick your random word, and then every new site you go to, you add to the beginning or the end, you create a system, either beginning or end, some version or some equation for the letters of that site. For example, let's say you go to Google. Let's say you pick the last two letters of every site. So if it's Google, I would do this and then put LE at the end. And then when I go to Spotify, I would do this and then FY at the end. Or if I go to Pornhub, I go this and UB at the end. Maybe don't necessarily pick the last two letters, maybe pick the first letter, maybe pick the last letter plus one letter, or something, some system so that when you get to a site and you don't know the name, you're like, well, I know what my word is, and I know what this URL is, so boom. And that way everyone is different, and if somebody finds out your one password, unless they know your algorithm, which that's impressive, then you've got this collection of unique passwords that you can figure out even after you've had a few beers. Not that I've ever been in a situation where I drunkenly can't remember my passwords. So hopefully that is helpful to you, or you have a system. If you've got some systems like that, feel free and please share them. I'm getting ready to share this with my parents, realizing that I think they have some maybe less sophisticated password systems that may get them in trouble as they get older. They occasionally will say, oops, I accidentally clicked on clean my Mac and now I can't get this pop-up to go away. And I'm worried that maybe at some point they will share a password with the wrong person. So this is a way that you can kind of minimize the damage that you can do. But if you've got other suggestions or other tips, I would love to hear them and help people to learn them. I posted on Facebook, I said, do people learn this in school? Their kids learn this in school nowadays? And I was kind of impressed with how many parents said yes. There's all sorts of digital literacy education that's happening in many grades now. So maybe we are not so doomed after all. We don't need cursive anymore, so we have all this extra time in the classroom to learn proper backup procedures. Not that I've ever been in a situation where I drunkenly can't remember my passwords.